Hi, my name is Tony Messina, and by putting my ideas and inventions on the internet, I'm documenting that these ideas and inventions originated with me. In the air conditioning refrigeration field, there's a substance that's called duct sealant. Okay, it's a white paste. It's a kind of like icing that you put on a cake. It has about the same consistency. Some duct sealants will have a little bit more of a fibrousness. The more expensive they are, the more they'll have a fibrous texture to them. And what duct sealant is, it's just like cake icing. It's a paste that you use a brush, you dip in the bucket, and when you have ducts that meet a plenum, or when you have two surfaces that meet in the attic, your furnace to your transition to your coil, or your coil to your supply plenum, any of these surfaces where they meet, a mechanic has a lot of times used duct sealant, or we call it pookie. When you paste this duct sealant on the surface, you cover the little screw heads that hold the two surfaces of these two objects together, the furnace to the transition, or the transition to the coil. The surfaces where they meet, they're held together by sheet metal screws and then covered with pookie to seal the joint, and you don't have any crack at all and no air gets in or out. Okay, that's the idea. Well, as time goes on and the unit's been in an attic for about 10 to 20 years, that duct sealant gets extremely hard and it bonds to the head of the screws. Okay, well, there's a problem with that when you have to change a piece of equipment. Like, let's say out of this whole system up in the attic, we have to change the coil. Well, to get the coil out, you have to take it apart from the transition and the supply plenum. Well, in doing so, you've got to get those screws out. Okay, well, I have invented a device that takes care of digging those heads out, getting to the head of the screw, and ripping it out. It just chews through the pookie, this bit that I've invented. Okay, here's a picture of it. I'll show you real quick. Okay, you can see in the close-up that the tip of the bit was notched, and it's notched to give it a cutting ability, so when it goes against the head of a screw, you're going to see in the video here in a second, I've got video of it, it will seek out the head of that screw, chewing through the pookie and getting to the head of the bit and just popping it right out. It gets there in an instant. Without this edge on that bit, your bit will just go against the duct sealant and it will just spin and spin and spin. It doesn't dig down and get to the head of the screw. My bit literally chews the duct sealant away and gets to the head of the screw, pops in it. There we go. See the screw heads? You can see the bump. Just put it to it. That's it. Okay, what I have here is a old plenum that I've taken out of an attic that has a lot of good screws in it that are covered by pookie. And I want to show you how best to use the single cut 1/4 inch bit that I have here, tiger bit. This is the single cut 1/4 inch tiger bit. You see here's a bump right here for a screw. We can fill the screws right here and there's a bump. If you turn it a little slowly instead of fast, it'll tend to just chew right through the pookie and get right down to it. You may have to dig it out a little. We're just going to get to that screw. Yep. go. 2 screws. Turn this over. There it goes. There it goes. And we have a couple more here. Pull that big piece of crud out of the way. Got one right here. That'll pop right out. And then you got one right here that's barely covered, but you can see it'll just dig it right out. But there are screws holding this collar in that I was going to get some footage of the bit going into to get, but it's about a ½ inch thick. It would just be kind of ridiculous to mess with, because you wouldn't do that in real life. In a real job situation, you may have to pull 2 pieces of equipment apart and get these screws out of the pookie like this, but in this situation with these collars like this, you sell the customer new collars. Okay, so you can see by the videos that using this tiger bit is very effective in removing screws out of panels and surfaces where it's been covered by duct sealant, and it's a pretty effective tool.